Hello guys, this is me Urahara, and in this video I will talk about Renji's new Bankai that appeared in the final arc with which he defeated Masculine. But before getting into this video's topic, this is a good opportunity to clarify an important point about the Shinigami and their female Zanpakutos video. In that video I talked about the male Shinigamis with female Zanpakuto, and many of you said, what about Renji? He too had a female Zanpakuto, why didn't you mention it? It's a good question, but if you noticed in that video, I only choose Shinigami whose Zanpakuto appears loud and clear to be a female, meaning their form appeared, for example, in the Zanpakuto failure arc, and that form was confirmed in the manga by Kobo, like Kyorako. Katen Kyokatsu appeared in that filler and Kobo confirmed her form later in the manga. Benihime appeared in the manga, and for Azashiro, it appeared clearly in the novel that Uruzakuro is a woman, and Kobo drew her in the novel's cover. But I didn't choose Renji's Zanpakuto for two reasons. The first one is that Kobo didn't confirm the form that appeared in the filler in the manga, because in the manga it appeared in the form of that creature. Even the voice actor wasn't a female, the monkey and the snake. Someone might say that Kobo changed his mind and evolved its appearance in the anime, and I would have agreed if Kobo didn't draw Renji's Zanpakuto in volume 63 the same way he drew it at the beginning of the story. And this sketch is Kobo's drawing of Zamibaro during Renji's fight against Masculine, and I would have taken the filler drawing into consideration if Kobo did the same thing as Zanpakuto Kazashini. He appeared in the filler with this form and was also drawn in volume 38 with the same form, so for all these reasons I didn't choose it. And so this was only a clarification of why I didn't choose Renji's Zanpakuto with that category. And now let's go back to this video's topic. Before the beginning of the final arc, Kobo was asked about Renji. Things like, did he train enough and became stronger? And I think the reporter asked this question based on Renji's joke in his fight against Jackie, when he told her that he was training for 17 months to fight Aizen. And so the reporter added, did the Gochi become in a level that could fight enemies of Aizen's level? Kobo's answer was clear. Yes, they became stronger, but not enough to fight enemies in Aizen's level without worry. Then he added that Renji's Bankai has changed, and from then on everyone was waiting to see this new Bankai, and I was thinking in that period, and according to what Kobo said, that Renji's Bankai changed during those 17 months, but throughout the first invasion it seemed that it didn't happen, and what Kobo said was true about Abarai Renji not being ready to fight a strong enemy, let alone someone at Aizen's level, because one blow from Masculine was enough to take him down and send him to the Royal Palace, and there he got the new Bankai. And to talk about this new Bankai and understand it, we need to start with the old Bankai. So as a Shinigami, Renji spent years training, whether in the 5th division or 11th division or under Ikako or Byakuya as a vice captain, and so this made him able to incarnate his Zanpakuto form from his inner world to the outside, and that's why it was easy for him to release his Bankai, unlike Ichigo that had to use the Tenshintai. And as you can notice, the Zanpakuto's form is that creature with a monkey head and a snake tail, but what we can notice is that the monkey was the more controlling, unlike the snake. And even in the filler, if we take into consideration the character's behavior, that character represents the monkey had control over the snake. Why am I saying all this? Because when Renji finished his training on the Bankai, which I think was really fast and not enough, and that was because Rukia's execution was getting near, Renji met Byakuya and released his Bankai for the first time in the story, and the Bankai's name was Hihyu Zamibaro, which means Baboon King, where Zamibaro means snake tail. And I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name of the Zanpakuto incorrectly. So what's important here is the Bankai's name, the Baboon King. If you notice, the name indicates the baboon monkey, meaning one part of the Zanpakuto's soul, and that's the monkey. But he wasn't apparent as the snake in the Bankai form. He was only present in the outfit on Renji's shoulder that goes down his arm, where Renji's hand was holding the snake tail, I mean that monster. And this refers to the monkey controlling the snake, as I said earlier, where Renji's attack attack is based on the snake movements, but the name Hitotsu Taihu, which means baboon bone cannon, has the monkey's name on it, meaning that with Renji's old Bankai, the monkey was the one in control, and that was very clear from the name, Hihyu, meaning the baboon king. So let's remember what I said and go back to the last arc events. So as I said, when Masculine beat the Renji, it seems that the training he kept talking about wasn't effective against someone like Masculine, and going to the Royal Palace was a chance to become stronger, and so two events were important in Renji's trip to the Royal Palace. Unlike Ichigo, he was the first one to pass the test of the Asauchi, and as Nemaya said, Renji's relationship with his Zanpakuto wasn't good, and they didn't have this perfect communication that could make it possible to have all of his Zanpakuto's powers. And so training with Nemaya, the Zanpakuto maker, was very beneficial to make his relationship with Zamibaro more powerful. And the second event is meeting and training with Ichibi. And here Ichibi informs him with a shocking truth, and that his Bankai's name, Hihyu Zamibaro, is a lie. Or rather not a complete name, but half the name. And he added that since Zamibaro only told him half the name, then Renji only knows half his powers. And being that Ichibi had the ability to name things and knows all the Zanpakuto's names, he told him that he would tell him the whole name of his Bankai, but only if he makes Zamibaro knows his powers. And it appears that Renji remained training with Ichibi until he was able to speak his Bankai's name. But before telling you the Bankai's name, I have to remind you with Yumichika's case, so we can have better understanding of this situation. So what happened to Renji is the opposite of what happened to Yumichika. Yumichika knew the real name of his Zanpakuto, which is Riru Kujaku, but he on purpose calls him with another name, Fujikujaku, and so the Zanpakuto appears in this form, where he doesn't show his true form and powers, but when he calls him by his name, the real form of the Shikai appears. But in Renji's case, he didn't know his Zanpakuto's full name to begin with, because the Zanpakuto gave him half the name, which confirms Nemaya's words about the weak connection between Renji and his Zanpakuto. So when Renji released his Bankai, he only released half its powers. I'm speaking about the old Bankai, and that was clear from the Bankai's name, Baboon King, and this was its appearance. As for the real name of the Bankai, it's Souhu Zamibaro, and it means two kings, and by kings it means the Baboon King and the Snake King, meaning that the missing half was the snake power. But in my opinion, the Baboon King's power were not also complete, because as I said before, the baboon powers wasn't apparent. It was only shown as the outfit on Renji's shoulders. However, in the rare Bankai, Renji benefited from the whole powers of the Baboon King with his different techniques, and also the other half of the powers, the snake with all its techniques. As you can see in the Bankai, instead of the old baboon outfit, Renji now has a giant arm like the Baboon King's arm, and that's the name of the old Bankai, Hihyu. It's so strong that Renji blow Masculine with light speed towards one of the buildings. And then there is the second king technique, which is Orishiu, meaning Snake King, in which he takes out his tail from behind the snake's head located on Renji's right hand, and the sword transforms into a similar form to the Shikai. And we notice how Orishiu was able to penetrate Masculine's body even with his voice standing. And then comes another technique in which Renji merges the two king's powers, where the snake's head appears huge while Renji and his enemy are inside its open jaw, and then Renji starts gathering energy while the snake's jaw is closing, which burns his enemy. And this is what happened to Masculine. The poor guy turned into ashes. And so this is approximately how Renji's new Bankai works, and what happened with Renji's new Bankai clarifies the importance of the Shinigami's communication with their Zanpakuto, where the more and deeper the connection is, the more the Shinigami benefits from the Zanpakuto's power. On the other hand, and going back to Renji's fight against Masculine, this needs another video, because that fight the power scales were so unbalanced, and I will talk about that in another video. Anyway, this was a video about Renji's new Bankai.